I used to work in the banking industry. One morning, I was heading to work, and I couldn't help but notice how miserable people look on their morning commute to work. We're so accustomed to using money and cash to pay for everything that we need that we forget that there's this whole other world out there. Many of us have jobs which we don't necessarily enjoy. We think that money is the only way. But I'm here to tell you that there is another world out there, a world of exchange where you can trade kitchen renovation for a car, organic produce for a website, or a book for a DVD, a world powered by a human connection and value for value exchange. As kids, we knew that world. When we were kids, we were really good at getting things without using money. And surely, we did not have credit cards. Instead, we would swap for marbles, hockey cards, or lunches. Raise your hand if you have ever traded lunch your parents packed you in favor of something else that you like, say, a chocolate bar. See, so many of us did it. When I was a kid, I used to trade stamps. Every now and then, I would find a stamp I really loved, and I would find a way to trade it with a friend of mine. It was fun, it expanded my collection, and it didn't dip into my allowance. So why am I talking about this? Why does this matter? I propose that we bring back that idea of bartering into our daily life. Not only did we have a ton of fun swapping as kids, but I also believe this idea is a solution to many of our daunting problems. We are facing financial, environmental, and social challenges. Most of us here in Canada know what it feels like to be drowning in debt. An average Canadian is $27,000 in debt. 42% of us live paycheck to paycheck. 73% of people consider money to be #1 stressor, which essentially means that 3/4 of you here are freaking out about money. There is a lot of fear, guilt, and shame associated with not having enough money. We've got to ask ourselves, are we consuming money, or is money consuming us? We are also consuming resources of 1.5 planets when we only have one, very rapidly turning living things into dead things. Lifelessness, hopelessness, a feeling so many of us are so familiar with, and a profound sense of isolation. According to studies, we are experiencing a looming loneliness crisis in Canada and in the US. It all adds up. It's easy to feel crushed under the weight of stress, debt, and isolation. Something has got to change. So, in 2008, I launched Swapsity, an online swapping community that empowers Canadians to swap their items, skills, services, time, and knowledge without using money. One of our first success stories was that of Tina and Michelle. Tina and Michelle traded kitchen renovation for a car, saving $4,000. Tina felt like she won a lottery. I felt like I found a solution. We also started organizing live swap meets in Toronto, engaging the community in swapping and recycling. It was very rewarding to see people come into the swap zone and see their faces light up. Swapsity is part of the exchange economy, a growing movement where people are swapping, exchanging all kinds of things, online and offline. Unlike a shopping transaction, which can be very cold and distant, swapping brings humanity and warmth back to a transaction. It's an eyeball-for-eyeball exchange, not a bank account to bank account transfer. Bartering is also a lot bigger than most people realize. 20% of world commerce runs on barter. 65% of Fortune 500 companies barter. It's a $12 billion industry in North America, and according to one estimate, 3.7 trillion globally. But here's the thing. Most of the bartering today happens among nations, say coffee, for grain, and corporations. Excess inventory for business services. Less than 1% of individuals barter. Why? Why are we missing out? Why are kids, corporations, and governments the only ones having fun? Most of us only see two options: cash and credit. So many of us are stuck in the loop, in the credit loop. We have all been there. When we're short of money, we turn to credit, AKA instant gratification. Then we have to work more to pay off the interest. What if we did things differently? What if we tapped into the power of barter, that creativity of the kid within us? Let me share with you some success stories. How many of you remember the red paperclip guy? Kyle McDonald made headlines across Canada, swapping his way from one red paperclip to a house through a series of 14 trades. When I met Kyle in person 2 years ago, he told me the best part of his adventure were the people he met, the human connection. Some of you may also be familiar with the effervescent Shannon Simmons, AKA the Barter Babe. Shannon spent a year living on barter, trading financial advice with 300 women in Toronto. According to Shannon, barter is empowering. She doesn't always have to rely on money. And she's a financial advisor, by the way. So here you can see Shannon swapping financial advice for a butter churning lesson. In New York City, there is a vending machine which enables you to swap. You can put things in and take things out. It's a playful reminder that swapping, recycling, and bartering is a lot of fun. So here is why I love swapping. It's social and connects us in a very human way. It alleviates financial stress. It's a win-win transaction. According to Time magazine, it's one of the top 10 ideas that will change the world. The exchange economy is rooted in community, sustainability, creativity. If you have some extra tomatoes in your garden, you can swap it for apples from your neighbor's tree. If you love baking, you can swap it for a haircut. If you're great at fixing bikes, you can trade it for toys for your kids. But remember, you need to be trading for something that has value to you, something that you need. Otherwise, you end up with something that just doesn't fit. If all Canadians bartered for 5% of their budget, we would collectively save $52.5 billion. That would go a long way towards paying off our debt. But it starts with you. So here is my challenge to you. In 2014, swap for at least one item, skill, or service a month and see how that changes your life. I know from my own experience that swapping makes me feel empowered and good. The exchange economy is a new frontier, and I believe one day we'll live in a world where we have 3 payment options: cash, credit, and exchange. I invite you to empower yourself and put barter in your wallet. Thank you.